how to make a do-it-yourself marine life themed outdoor epoxy resin bar top. Now, my son-in-law was making this bar top for a customer. He asked me to do an epoxy resin top with a marine life theme. So I started out, you want to seal the plywood. I just did it with paint. I rolled on a base coat of blue, and this prevents that plywood from leaching out bubbles into the resin as the resin's drying. So it's always a good idea to seal the wood if at all possible. I then used a little bit of painter's tape and a razor knife to cut out the shape of a couple of patches of sand that are going to be on the bottom. And I used some additional beige paint for that. After the beige paint was done, I went back over the blue and the beige with a little bit of spray paint. So I used a lighter blue spray paint on the blue, and I used a darker tan spray paint and just lightly misted over both just to give it some variation of color, so that it wasn't just block colors. It would just look a little bit more lively. So now that the base coats are done, it's going to be time to add the marine life and the coral, etc. I'm going to use these stickers. These are wall stickers. You can get them online. I got these on Amazon. You definitely want the wall stickers rather than the glass stickers or the window stickers. The wall stickers are just a little bit stickier, so they'll stay on the wood a little bit better as the resin is setting up. They're not perfect. The edges will lift a little bit, and in most cases you're going to need 2 coats of the resin to cover, sometimes 3 coats to cover completely. So I'm just taking my time. I'm putting down all of the marine life, the growth, the coral, etc. And then when that's done, I'll add some fish. It ends up being a fun little project. These are removable, but when using them with epoxy resin, you really don't want to lose any of that adhesion. So if you do decide that you don't like the placement of one and you pick it up, I would not reuse it. I would just use another one. They're fairly inexpensive. So this is the final design that I came up with. So all of the stickers are now in place. And now it's time to use the resin. Now, I did a little research. This is a different resin than I normally have used in the past. This is called Industrial Clear. It's from a company called Art Resin. The website is actually called industrialclear.com. It's a 2-part resin. So you're using, in the mix, it's 2 parts resin, 1 part hardener. And you have to stir it, they say for 4 minutes. I actually stirred it for 5 minutes just to be safe, very slowly. You don't want to introduce any bubbles into the mix, or reduce the number of bubbles that you put into the mix. You can then pour this onto the top, and then I'm just using this plastic tooth grout. I call it a knife that I got down at Ace Hardware to spread that resin. And I'm going to do this very carefully, and I'm going to try not to move any of those wall stickers. What's nice about this resin is you can pull it right to the edge, and it won't go over that edge. Once you do go over the edge, then it will continue to drip. But it really kind of stays in place, pretty nicely. So the first step is just to spread it out and get a good covering on the entire project. I'm then going to use the gloved hand to run over the lip. And then while it's drying, for the first couple of hours, I went back over with my, just a gloved hand, and worked out any of the drips that were, hanging down. Very important to go over the entire project with this little butane torch. You don't want to add a lot of heat. You just want to pop the bubbles that have come to the surface. So very quickly, add a little bit of heat from the torch, get rid of any bubbles, and that's going to really allow this resin to give you the clearest possible end result finish. It's going to be a high gloss, clear finish. This resin really sets in let's say 5 hours. It starts to become tacky to the touch. 24 hours is cured, and 48 hours is completely cured, full cure, rock solid. This resin was made, I chose it because it's made to be used outdoors in the sunlight. It can stand up to the heat of the sun and the UV, etc. It's food safe. Everything I read about it's just absolutely perfect for outdoor bar tops. Now I decided to give it a second coat. You can do that without any sanding if you do it within the 3 to 5 hour window. You can just pour an additional batch on. I used a brush this time to spread it out. If you wait, the full 48 hours, then you'd have to sand it down a little bit, just very lightly with an 80 grit paper, and then reapply the next coat of resin. Either way, the end result, should be the same. So this time I just used a brush for the drips. This is the second coat. And then you have the finished product. So one of a kind, definitely a unique bar top. You got a whole bunch of different marine critters and marine life, all encapsulated under a very clear, rock-hard resin, industrial clear. And I think my son-in-law's customer is going to be very happy. If you're interested in these type of products, by all means, check us out on the web at DIYEasyCrafts.com. I've got a bunch of different epoxy resin projects. Thank you very much for watching.